Hey, what's up? I'm Christina Grimmie, and I grew up in Marlton, New Jersey. I started singing when I was really young. I mean, my mom tells me that I basically sang before I talked, so that's, I guess that just means I was meant to be a singer, So I've kind of just always done it. Always dabbled with the piano. We always have it in the house growing up, so that's kind of how I got into that as well. I picked up the piano. My brother never really did any of that, but he got a guitar when he was, I want to say 13 years old, and he picked that up really, really fast. So we would jam together, we would play. We grew up with he was really into rock music, and he got me into rock music, so we would write songs together and play guitar together. I was never a great guitar player, to be honest, but yeah, that was definitely fun. I feel like we bonded in music that way. He's my guitar player on stage, and he's also just one of my best friends. So. I have been playing the piano since I was 4 or 5. Just, my parents got me lessons, things like that, and I just never really understood the theory part of music. I tried, I really did. I had 3 different piano lessons throughout my life, and I could never really quite pick up the notes. For instance, 3 Blind Mice, if that's on the page, and I'm trying to learn each note. Eventually it's just by ear, and I'm like, okay, why do I need notes, you know what I mean?
Right.
So I kind of just, would end up playing everything by ear. It's so funny because everyone asks me, why did you post your first video? What made you want to do that? And what were you expecting from it? And I'm always like, I really don't know. I wasn't expecting success. I wasn't, honestly, that wasn't even on my brain. I didn't understand tour and the business. I didn't understand any of that. I literally just liked to sing. And I can't even really remember my thought process either, posting the first video. I think it was just, I liked to see, me singing back. I liked to see what I could either fix or if it sounds good. I think it was almost more for myself than it was for, gathering up subscribers or people at the time. But it kind of turned into something obviously much bigger than I expected at the time. But my friend was the one who kind of recommended putting up a YouTube video. And she's still my best friend to this day, and she goes, it's a thing now, Christina, you should try it. And I was like, oh, I don't know. And then 6 months or so later, I was like, you know what? There was a Hannah Montana song that was new at the time, and I was like, because it was a brand new episode of Hannah Montana, and obviously it was huge, so I was like, I'm gonna use that song and make that my first videos.
Hi, I'm going to be singing I Don't Want to Be Torn by Hannah Montana, and I'm going to be playing on piano, and if some of the notes are wrong, or whatever. I'm playing it for I guess a week now. Hope you like it.
For the first time, I didn't have a band. For me, I was, so not used to the business, you know what I mean? I was kind of thrown into it almost, and my manager hooked me up with the Selena gig, and in my mind I was like, this is cool, but it's scary. I'm going on a stage in front of 20,000 people. What am I supposed to do by myself, My brother was actually almost tour managing me in a way.
Okay.
So he did come on the road with me, but he didn't play guitar. I didn't have a budget for a band. I had no backdrop. It was literally just me running up on stage, running around. And looking back now, I had so much fun. It was amazing, and I don't really feel like I would have been able to accomplish a lot of things that I accomplished today, and you know, especially like the voice and stuff, had I not done that early tour. You know, I feel like I was thrown into it in the best way. What made me kind of want to do the voice was just the fact that I felt as if I had done everything I could possibly do without a label. Still wasn't getting a label. Every label on the planet kind of knew who I was, and yet no deals were coming in. There was nothing, you know, to do. And I was like, I went on 2 Selena Gomez tours, for goodness sake. You know, I've been, you know, doing my own gigs, writing my own music, originals, releasing everything, covers, whatever it is, I was doing it. And I was like, what else is there to do, you know? And I was like, okay with continuing on that road. I was like, that's fine. Like, I love music, I'm gonna do it anyway, but what could boost it? And I've always loved the idea of the voice, always. And I was like, when I was 15, 16, watching, you know, American Idol and stuff like that, when that was like the big thing, I was wondering if that was ever something I was gonna do. I remember I used to practice in my room, performing in front of judges, you know? So when I went on The Voice, that was kind of almost a dream come true, really. Side A is my part 1 to my brand new EP, hence Side A. And I'm really excited about it. I got to produce and write on it almost entirely, which was cool. You know, I co-produced on one, which basically means you pick things that you like in the sound or the, you know, the percussion or whatever it may be, whatever makes up the track. That's kind of almost what producing is. But when I say I produced the music, I've been kind of working with GarageBand and Logic and stuff almost, you know, since I was 14 maybe. And I was never great at it, but I knew what I wanted, so I was good in my head, but it wasn't translating perfect until I, you know, kept practicing. So on this EP, I got to experiment actually doing it fully myself, you know, making the track, putting the piano down, putting my own drums and kicks and reverbs and all that fancy stuff on it. So that was really, really cool. I thought that's something that would never happen. Actually, a lot of the songs on Side A I thought would never even see the light of day because they were just on my laptop, you know. I was like, oh, no one's gonna want to hear these, but yeah, so now they're out and I'm really, really proud of it. Well, one of my favorite covers I've ever done is I covered an Arctic Monkeys song, Do I Wanna Know? And, you know, obviously Arctic Monkeys, it's a rock band and I don't sing rock music, but I love rock music and I love transforming music into something that I would do and something that I could sell, quote unquote. So I just thought of this awesome way to cover Do I Wanna Know, which is my keys. And so look that up, that's one of my favorites. I also really love the song that I wrote called Deception. It's on Side A. Took me like a year to write it just because I kind of like stepped away from it for a while because I didn't know exactly what I wanted to say, but I finally like wrapped it up in like 10 minutes like a year later. I was just like, this is what I want to say. So I finally got to release that, so it kind of just means a lot to me. A lot of piano in there as well. And I guess the last one would probably be one of my favorite songs that I've ever performed. Would probably have to be Can't Help Falling in Love by Celine Dion, but it was it's actually not, well, it's covered by Celine Dion because it's an Elvis song, but I got to sing it on The Voice. I've been singing that song almost my whole life, trying to be Celine Dion, you know, growing up. So that's definitely something, you know, that's kind of the vocal track that I'm on. So if you want to hear some vocally singy stuff, you can check that one out as well. But I can't help falling in love with you. I remember a lot of the fans that I first started out with on YouTube I still see on Twitter and Facebook and at my shows and stuff like that. So that's really cool that they've kind of grown up with me throughout the years and seeing the changes that I've made and some of the things that haven't changed. So it's really cool to hear their feedback of Side A to this day in comparison to the things that I did before. For people that are more nervous or worried about what people are gonna say if they post a video, you know, whatever it is, I can actually relate 100%. I mean, I used to be that way for sure. I remember my first video I ever posted, I was watching it back, making sure my facial expressions weren't weird and I didn't hit any weird notes. So I understand that to a T. At the same time though, it just feels like I was stressing so much more over stupid stuff. You know, because I watch a lot of the greatest singers in the world, you know, watch them back and they have funny facial expressions, they, you know, have some bad notes, but overall it's because I love them so much and look up to them, it almost doesn't matter. And that's kind of what I've learned over the years. I feel like almost, you know, the weirder or different and more unique you are, the better, really. Because if you get made fun of for it, I think it's almost like a compliment in a way, because I'm like, oh, okay, like I'm gonna take that and like harness that now and actually make it a cool thing rather than something to make fun of. Yeah. Like honestly, getting made fun of and stuff for things, I mean, I remember my middle school experience was a lot like that, and it's rough, like it's hard to deal with, and there's no way to really tell people like, don't worry about it, because that never works, but like, I feel like it's just something you have to experience yourself. It's almost like this revelation of, I don't really care. Like I ended up just kind of getting over it after a while, all the bad comments I get and stuff like that. It's like after a while you're just like, you know, I accept who I am, I accept how I do things, and this is how I want to do things. So. Hey guys, what's up? It's Christina Grimmie, and you are so beautiful now.